on so much that goes on in the world and so much that happens to people when you realize that not only are we not alone, but that which is with us does not necessarily have to arrive in spaceships and flying saucers. It is actually energy. Think of the genie that can go in the bottle as energy in the stories, and then come out and take form. This is what is possible when we get our heads out of this obsession with form, obsession with the physical that isn't actually physical. It's just a holographic illusion, as I've talked about in other video casts and at length and in great detail in the books. So when we talk about people being possessed, their body is possessed, well, that's not really the case if you take the body to be what you can see, what I would call the hologram. In the unseen, although the unseen to human sight, but it's able to be photographed by technology now, we have a number of energetic fields which go under names like the auric field, which some people who have a greater spectrum of visual possibility, they can see these energetic fields. And like I say, you can photograph them technologically as well. And we call the people that can see them psychics and other names. But that auric field, which interacts with what we perceive as the body and can dictate mental and emotional states, that's the level that these energetic entities, these jinn, these archons, these whatever name is given around the world, that's the point where they make the connection. And, you know, a lot of ridicule that's come my way is the fact that I talk about shape-shifting entities, shape-shifting people. And the reason that people in such large numbers go, hey, that bloke's mad, is because they're thinking physical. And what they say is, you can't shift from a physical body to another physical body. No, you can't. Pushing on an open door, mate. But this is the point. The body's not physical. It's illusory physical. It's holographic. It's a projection of energetic fields into us, the unseen. And so if you think of it this way, in terms of possession, for instance, in the most extreme forms of possession, the facial state, often the body state of the possessed person starts to shift, starts to move. You get hideous faces appearing, what have you. And these have been, like I say, charted through history to present day. And what is happening is that their hologram is shape shifting. Why? Because when these entities, these energetic entities, attach to the human energy field, if it's quite a weak attachment, then the impact upon that person's behavior and emotions can be very subtle. It's difficult to perceive there's anything different. But the more that energetic field, in effect an information field of the possessing entity, attaches more powerfully to the target energetic field, then the more the information contained in the possessing field impacts upon the possessed target field. And as that information impacts more and more, it starts to impact upon the nature of the projection, the hologram. And so suddenly someone looks like they used to look. And in states of more extreme possession, the information in the possessing field starts to change the nature of the hologram. The person, to anyone observing, starts to change. Their face changes. Sometimes even their whole body can change. And what we're looking at, like I say, is shape-shifting. And when I talk about people being able to move between one form and another, what's happening is they're moving between one information field and another. And as that information field changes to another, the nature of the holographic projection changes. And to the observer, it appears that a physical body has changed to another type of physical body. It hasn't. because there is no physical body. An information shift has taken place, which means that the projection, the hologram, changes its nature in relation to the information. Piece of land occupied, at least in 2013, be less now, by 22 million people. Piece of land that is little bigger than North Dakota. And I'm talking, of course, about Syria. Now, in that country, less than 22 million people now, and little bigger than the size of North Dakota, I'd like to make a list. We have America bombing, France bombing, Turkey bombing, Israel bombing, Kurds attacking, US backed, armed and trained rebels bombing and attacking. We have ISIS bombing and attacking. We have Iran having a military presence there. And now we have Russia starting to bomb that land this week. Very much in the not too distant background is China. And of course we have the psychopath that is David Cameron, absolutely desperate to get the British Air Force involved also in bombing this land. If anyone ever needed confirmation, and of course we don't, that we live in a lunatic asylum, then the events of Syria are the confirmation. Does anyone really think that all this is going on, all these countries involved, all this bombing, all this death, destruction, suffering, and refugee creation is happening because the West morally feels that President Assad is a tyrant, oppressing his people, and therefore the opposition to him in the country must be supported? Does anyone really believe that? The idea that the United States and Britain alone have any interest whatsoever in the oppression of people when the British Empire and the American Empire, that is but not named, have spent centuries oppressing people all over the world for their own economic benefit and accumulation of power. They could not give a damn about what is happening in Syria in terms of oppression of the people or whatever else they claim. We have a situation where one of the greatest oppressors of humanity on the planet, Saudi Arabia, which executes someone on average about every 2 days at the moment, is part of the coalition to stop oppression in Syria. We have ISIS rightly vilified and condemned for the horrors of beheading as a tool of trauma and control and terror. And yet we have Saudi Arabia beheading with not a murmur from the same moral West. They are bombing mercilessly civilians in Yemen without a murmur from the moral West that arms them and allows them to do it. So it's pretty bloody clear that the cover story of "we must help the people of Syria" is a load of fricking bollocks. So there's another reason, which I'm going to come to in this video cast, and there are many levels to it. I am sick beyond words at the moral hypocrisy of the Obamas and the Camerons and the Blairs and the Bushes and all these others, the Hollands and the Sarkozys, war criminals, the lot of them, psychopaths, who talk about how they must stand for freedom and justice while bombing the crap out of country after country and leaving mayhem and violence behind them.